Hi, everyone. Today I'm going to show you my workflow for how I find and develop relationships for federal government contracts. I'm going to walk you through the process, and you can kind of utilize the tips and tricks that I use for whichever process you have currently going on. But I'm going to focus on showing you what I think you should be doing to get the best results and find the projects that are slam dunk for your business. So let's get into it. First, I'd like to make a disclaimer. I'm going to use this software, but you don't have to exactly use this software to do this. You could utilize whatever software you use, or you could just even do it on government contracting websites. So that's just a disclaimer. I'm using SamSearch, but again, you don't have to use it. Now, for federal government contracting, it's not just SAM.gov. That's one thing I would like to highlight, and I'm going to cover that in the video today. I'm going to show you how I'm going to find the federal opportunities that are posted that everyone has access to on SAM.gov and such. I'm going to cover forecasts, so I'm going to be developing my pipeline for the next 6 to 18 months. And I'm going to also be covering subcontracting and partnership building, all within the federal government contracting space. So we have kind of a packed video, so let's get into it. First, for federal search in general, for finding government contracts, whether it's SAM, whether it's whichever software you use, you want to highlight the keywords that are relevant to your business. So in my case, I want to be specific in describing what I do. This will make it easier for me to always find contracts. If I am too broad, I'm going to easily miss out on opportunities, and I'm going to waste a lot of time and effort going after the wrong contract. So for me, for example, I'd like to give an example. So my company is a software company. What I would search is web development, for example. That is very relevant and specific to what I do. So that's the first thing on a keyword search basis. We want to filter for exact keywords, and you should make a list of these. So web development solutions, for example, AI development or backend development, things like that. Now, the second thing that's important is also the NAICS code. You want to know your NAICS codes, or if you could just, for example, search here by computer. In my case, computer development, I know what my NAICS code is, which is custom computer programming services. So 541511. So I'm going to either search by specific keywords, or I'm going to be using the NAICS code, or I could use a combination of both. Let's go back to the keyword search, and we want to filter because the results as they are not going to be good enough. I always like to go after sources sought pre-solicitation. These help me get ahead in the sales process. I've talked about this a lot in my videos, so I don't ignore those. But I also filter for solicitations, combined synopsis, and solicitations. And then with each one of these results, I read the summary and see if whatever is there makes sense for me or not. Again, not every contract is going to be worth my time or my effort. For example, this one includes software development, system integration, and data warehousing. This could potentially be a good fit for me, so I'm going to save it for now. And then I'm going to go through the AI summaries and just if I see that it's relevant, then I'm going to add it, and then I'm going to filter even more. One thing I also like to know is how much time do I have until it's due? So with the ones that I have a lot of time, that's good. If I have, for example, a week or two, I'm not going to be able to make a bid that quickly. Based on the technical challenges and how much I know is going to get into the proposal writing process, I also could filter by the due date. And I just keep doing this one by one. You could filter by, for example, we don't want to be selling a product, we're offering a service. So I'm going to filter here by the AI service tag. You could also do the same for RFP, RFQ, RFI. If you're only going specifically after RFI, it helps you define your search in narrower. So it'd be easier for you to go after RFIs instead of having to see RFPs, RFQs, RFIs. Now, one thing I also is essential is set aside code. If you are an 8A set aside, if you're a woman-owned small business, if you're a veteran-owned small business, it's essential to filter for these. So if you're an 8A, you have to filter for 8A. This will help you filter down for contracts that are relevant specifically to your business. Now, that is for the federal side. Let's actually go and show you how I build my pipeline for the future using forecast. So forecast, let's actually change this to development so we get only development contracts. So forecast helped me estimate what I will have in the future. That's a key thing. So each one of these forecasts is given by a federal agency that they, in the future, will require these contracts. Now, you could filter by whichever year you want. So, for example, if you want to target next year, we're going to filter by 2026. And you could here filter by which quarter, so Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, and you get the estimated value. This way, you can reach out to these agencies and develop your pipeline for the future. So we're not only looking at current opportunities, we're looking at contracts that are going to be released in the future. And there are two categories that I like to go after. One is new requirement, which means that there wasn't a contract in the past for something like this, but they're opening up a new contract and it's full and open competition. So it's open to the public to bid on this. The other one is recompete. That means there was a contract in the past and now they are opening up the competition. So it's open for everyone to recompete basically, and the contract will be released again. And with the estimated value, I know how much I am estimated to win for this contract, and I could start the kind of business development process early on. So this one is for Q1. Now would be an ideal time for me to reach out to this government agency, which I could just click on this and contact them. It's very simple. So that's on the forecast side. And finally, when it comes to subcontracting, I would like to also make sure that I'm going after subcontracting opportunities. What these are government contracts that have been awarded for companies that are obligated to subcontract. They have subcontracting plans to small businesses. Each one of these is a chance for me to reach out and see if there's potential for partnership. So for example, Dev Technology Group, they've been awarded this contract under a GSA vehicle, and this includes a subcontracting plan. I could reach out to them and see if I would be in a good position to work with them. But this one, the confidence is low, and it's also due in 2 months, so there isn't really a room for me to subcontract. What I would like to see sometimes is search for medium and high confidence subcontracting opportunities. Now, high confidence are rare. What those means is that the company itself is requesting for small businesses to subcontract. So these are high quality leads that you need to reach out to as soon as possible. The ones that are medium, they are obligated to subcontract and they have subcontracting plan, but they didn't announce publicly that they want subcontractors. So it's more of a relationship development process that obviously a lot of companies win government contract that way, and subcontracting is actually the way to do it if you're a small business. Now, speaking on that, the other thing that I like to always consider is partnerships. So reaching out to companies that could be great partners for my business. So for example, when I come here, I could filter by my NAICS code, which is Custom Computer Programming Services. And I could filter for businesses that I think are aligned with what I do. So I could choose their certification. I want them, for example, to have experience with the government, or I could just leave and go on with the NAICS code. If whatever you work on is location specific, you could filter on by the state. So let's say, for example, we want to work with businesses in California. Now I have a list of leads, as you can see here, 56 leads that are high qualified businesses that I could potentially work with. And these are all companies that are registered with the government and have past experiences. So if you look at each one of these, you have their capability statement, you have their website, and you can come here and see their past performances. And you add these partners to your CRM or whichever way you keep track of leads, and you start and develop a relationship with those. Now, especially small businesses would be open to working with other small businesses. And you could pitch a contract to them. You could try and get on a contract they have. You could try and together develop a bid for a specific contract. Whichever way you want, this also opens up a new pipeline of opportunities for you with the government. You're not directly working with the government. You could potentially be partnering with a commercial business. But just like subcontracting, this is a great way for you to actually win government contracting money. Now, this is my process. I tried to kind of cover it in a nutshell. With each one of these, we can dive deeper into what we could actually do in terms of how I break them down using AI. Let me know if you want me to make a video about that, or how I utilize, for example, spending data to figure out my pricing strategy, see competition, see partners that I would work on this specific contract. So let me know if you want me to cover that. That would be the next step in my government contracting process, which after I kind of capture all of these opportunities, I like to break them down, see which one is a good fit, and that would be moved forward in the pipeline from just exploration to actively looking and then reaching out and submitting a bid, and finally, hopefully, winning this contract. That's it. If you want to get access to this software to make your life easier, you can find a link in the first comment or in the description. I have not seen a lot of softwares that have forecast, subcontracting, and partnerships. It will just make it much, much easier. And the AI generated summary also makes it a lot easier to understand if it's a good fit or not for your business quickly. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.